Now we know what it looks like. The Nothing Phone has been sort of announced. We finally have pictures of the device itself. And with this video, I'm going to avoid the radio DJ puns that I've been seeing all over Twitter. Whole lot of nothing. Something finally from nothing and all the rest of it. That's fine. Interesting looking device. I like that. I was a little skeptical, I gotta say, at first. In fact, I didn't do a video on it. A lot of people did. That presentation, that sort of teaser of the teaser, was horrible. I don't care where he came from or how established he is with OnePlus. That was a bad presentation. You don't get up on a stage and say you're going to take on Steve Jobs' legacy or whatever, or take on Apple and what they've created with an ecosystem, and then really show nothing, and then come out and ask for another $10 million or whatever it was from people, from just regular investors, as opposed to the other people that you have, the actual capital investors that you have for the company. You're saying you got $120 million. What do you need another million from us for? So that my antenna went up there. I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. Are we actually dealing with a bit of a scam here? But they have something. July 12th, we'll find out the price, which is going to be the biggest part of it. The design overall I like, though. It is something different. It is something that the premium materials, at least it looks like it. The plastics, the recycled aluminums, the LEDs, which we'll talk about in a moment. But it is refreshing. I don't care. People say, oh, it's just like an iPhone 12. It's like, yeah. We got to stop with that. There's only so many designs these phones are going to have, and when one company finds a good one, it's not the end of the world that a couple other companies jump on the bandwagon. You know, Xiaomi had a couple of devices that were similar to the iPhone 12 and up now, and now basically almost at OnePlus. Now you got Nothing with their device. There weren't a whole heck of a lot of competitors. Vivo did kind of the squared off edges, or rather the flat edges, but there's only so many designs you could come up with in a slab form factor. So I really don't get uppity about that. It looks clean. I like the fact that it only has 2 lenses. That's interesting, right? So instead of a company spending who knows how much of the price of the phone, so if you got a flagship phone, $1,200 on a Samsung S22 Ultra, for example, how much of that is because of that camera system? All the technology they had to put into, all the lenses, the periscope, zoom. If you're somebody that just wants to take a representative image, just something sort of good, right? There's plenty of these things in good light. All these phones can take a nice image that you're going to double tap, give a little heart on Instagram, and keep moving. So instead of wasting all that money and all that space on a camera system, just have 2 lenses to get the job done, I think that's a good idea, especially if you're going to keep it in a mid-tier price range. So let's talk about price, what it has to come in at. I was originally under the impression that it was going to run the latest hardware. They were going to kind of do what they did with OnePlus, where they were going to give you the latest Snapdragon, but they were going to do it at a lower price because there's going to be no frills and all the rest of it. Now I'm hearing from these news stories it was going to be a mid-tier device. Maybe it was always supposed to be that. I don't know. But if you're giving me mid-tier specs, mid-range specs, in that design, you better come out with a very competitive price. $499, $599 max, depending on what you're offering. Because otherwise, instead of paying less for more, you're paying more for less. You're basically paying for the branding. You're paying for a Nothing phone. You're paying for something that's going to look different and be different. You're not paying for performance that's at or above what you get on the flagship level, just paying less for it. Now you're paying for an accessory, almost. Which is interesting, because a lot of people say that's what you do with an iPhone, even though I don't agree with that. I think you get a lot for what you pay for. But at first, a lot of people said, oh, you're paying for the Apple branding, you pay for the accessory. But Apple has a name, right? Apple has an ecosystem that they put with it. That's what this guy says he wants to do. We'll see. That's a big ask there, to come up with an ecosystem for Nothing that can challenge Apple. 1 for 1 so far. Okay, I like the design. Mr. Mobile nailed it, by the way, when he said the back of the phone, the way it lit up, reminded him of those mid-2000s devices where you'd unscrew the antenna. I had a V90, Motorola V60, whatever the flip phone was, V90. I've shown it on the channel before. That you'd go to these kiosks. I was going to school at Boston University at the time. You go to these kiosks in the middle of the mall, and you buy it $20, $10, $15, $20. You unscrew your antenna, you screw on one of these lights, these LED things, and whenever you got a call, it flashed up. And the pattern that they had on the back of the Nothing phone was exactly the patterns that you used to get, these kind of flash, like seizure-inducing patterns on the back of these things. But that's neat, because we've talked about having a notification LED, how cool it is, how useful it is. Yeah, always-on displays are nice, but to be able to look at a glance and see what your phone's doing from more than a few feet away, I think is useful. So if you can have different patterns, the way different signals, the way the lights light up, if it's a message from WhatsApp or if it's just Instagram or something like that, I think that's really neat. So they're trying something different. They actually have a product, which I think is interesting. I thought it was vaporware, or not vaporware, but it was iffy there. I was a little distrusting after that presentation where you basically had an announcement of an announcement. Now they got a device. Cool looking. I think they nailed the design. So that's all we can judge them on so far. We don't know spec. We don't know price. We don't know performance. So there's a big 4 things coming up, but 1 for 1 so far on design. You can love it, you can hate it. But first off, I think that's good. That's why I like the Pixel 6 design. Either love it or hate it. The worst thing that people can do is not care about your design. They can love you or can hate you. So the fact that Nothing has really come out with something that they're actually swinging on that. I love the industrial design of it. I like the transparency. I'm a 90s kid. Maybe that's self-selected. Bring back colored transparent plastics, please. I'll start with the clear one on the Nothing phone, but bring back colored transparent plastics. Let me know what you think below. They come in mid-tier. So let's say a lower 800 series Snapdragon. Perhaps they come in with a 7 series, but it's well storage. It's got expandable storage. It has all that stuff. It has this Nothing ecosystem that they reveal. Is that worth $499 to you? Is it worth $599? Are they basically dead on arrival if they come out at $699? I think that's probably the tipping point. $599, you're going to get people to take a chance, especially if you can offer decent performance at that price with a little bit of design to it and all the rest of it. But I think $699, you're going to be asking for people that are competing against flagship devices, or at least starting to compete against flagship devices, and they're going to want the performance that goes with that. So I think $499, $599 is a sweet spot. We'll find out July 12th. Let me know if you're interested. Are you just looking for something different? Are you done with Samsung? Are you a OnePlus cast-off that in years past you were all there for the OnePlus 1 and the OnePlus 3 and the OnePlus and all the rest of it, but now you're done with them because you don't like the path that they've taken the last few years. And that should be quite a number of people. So is this your savior? Is this what you're looking for because you're not into Samsung and you're not into an iPhone? Perhaps the Nothing phone is for you. Let me know down below. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time. Oh, by the way, if I keep showing up in your recommended, because 92% of you watching are not subscribed, these plushes and pushins aren't free. Go ahead and tussle that subscribe button. It certainly means a lot to me. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.